Assalamu alaikum. I'm Malik Hodge, an Ninja warrior of the Midwest and a messenger of the covenant, representing the messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, the self taught one, Master Suleiman, who has given us the Injil, the gospel of revelations, with the Injil key that gives us the understanding of the unsealed scriptures. This is Up Late Update with Malik Hodge on this August the 16th, 2022. This is where we take current events and give the understanding of them through the lens of the Injil or the unsealed scriptures and give the understanding to how they fit with what's taking place in today's time. First of all, I too um, apologize for the delay in the time. I had a new system up or using a new technique, and the live we had to get it, had to run out, clear the bugs up in it. However, everything is great, and we're going to go to get started. First, topic is as talks on Colorado River water falters, U.S. government imposes new restrictions. The federal government has announced a Tier 2 emergency based on Lake Mead water levels, requiring reductions for Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico after Colorado River Basin states failed to meet a deadline for emergency drought reductions. Tuesday, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation announced new emergency water cuts for Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico as the nation's two largest reservoirs to per, peril, perilously low levels. The seven states that rely on Colorado River water were told 2 months ago to develop plans to drastically reduce water use by 2 million to 4 million acre feet. But those talks have grown at the news conference Tuesday. Federal officials said that an agreement was urgently needed and that it was declaring a tier 2 shortage for next year. Historic first for the shrinking river in order to avoid a catastrophic collapse of the Colorado River system and the future of uncertainty and conflict. Water use in the Boise must be reduced, and said Tanya Trujillo, the Interior Department's Assistant Secretary for Water and Science. Under Tier 2 shortage conditions, Arizona annual water operations meant will be reduced by 21%, Nevada by 8%, and Mexico by 7%. There is no required water savings for California. So the Colorado River is the water levels are shrinking. This has been taking place for a few years now. They're pulling water from the Colorado River. Like they said, Arizona, 7 different states dependent on the Colorado River. And I didn't see it said knowing that that also does depend on Colorado River. However, it wasn't in that report. Vegas, could have sworn Las Vegas was. It's not in the report, however. The water levels due to drought. Drought is affecting the heat and the drought that is happening out west is affecting the level of the water in the Colorado River. And its shortages are bringing shortages to these cities, and they're cutting back. So each state has to come up with their own plans to meet their cutbacks. However, this is just a topic showing keeping us in the know of how things are being affected. You have water shortages, fires, drought in the West Coast, and then even though you had some flooding, the conditions are still dry, or it's still a drought in the area overall, even with the little rain that come down. The flooding is really because of the ground being so dry that it hits the dirt, and the dirt reacts to it, or it doesn't allow the water in, and it acts like rock. So with it acting like stone or rock, the water runs on it instead of soaking in. So that's what's causing the flooding. It doesn't take much water when the water's not going into the ground. However, the weather is still pressing the high temperatures, and high temperatures are still lining up, or still for August. The temperatures are still relatively 90 plus degrees into the triple digits, and the weather is just pressing it's still being consistent with the high heat, and the effects of it is drought and water reductions in the West. So that's it. We're going to continue to our next topic. One more on that topic, but that's it. Yeah, talk about that as well. Before we go into that, our next topic is going to be in a moment. Jill Biden, President Biden's wife. As we know, Joe has been having COVID. Now Jill Biden tests positive for. Give me a moment. Let me check this and make sure this is not. Okay. Trying to make sure that wasn't coming in on the feed because this is a live feed. You can respond. So, stop that. Okay. Jill Biden tests positive for COVID, exhibiting mild symptoms, White House says. First Lady Jill Biden has tested positive for COVID. The White House said Tuesday after first showing signs of the virus Monday evening. The First Lady, in experiencing only mild symptoms, according to a statement from the commission communication director Elizabeth Alexander, but will isolate. Okay, but will isolate for at least 5 days. Jill Biden and President Joe Biden was vacationing in South Carolina for the first part of this week, and the First Lady will stay there until she receives 2 consecutive negative tests prior to testing positive. She was scheduled to travel Thursday to Central Florida for what's that for? For an event at Walt Disney World. Biden has received 2 vaccinations and 2 boosters shots and will begin a course of the antiviral drug that Paxlovid, the White House said. So Joe Biden has been having COVID. Now the First Lady Jill Biden has COVID. They said that Joe is still tested negative. Jill Biden is going to stay back. She was due to go to she had a engagement at Walt Disneyland. However, she got to stay until she gets 2 days of negative tests. However, just this is just showing that um, while they're making claims and they're taking a lot of COVID restrictions down, and they're claiming a lot of claims are being made that they have overcome COVID. Seen a lot of uh, I've seen a lot of, not a lot, well, I say multiple stories on COVID. However, as you see, COVID is not going nowhere. We know that from the India perspective. Um, that's like we read prior that it's a new strand, the B4. What is it? The B456, B.556 strand. That's a mutation. Uh, source 2 that is what they're sharing it that it's quality surging, and they're watching it. Uh, they've also made claims that they're not going to buy any more. They're in the next couple of weeks that uh, Joe Biden said they're not going to buy any more tests, COVID tests, and or vaccines. That they're have made a basically that they're made a dent, or they've come to a point to where they feel like they have they've come to a point that where they have feel that they've pretty much beaten or have um cornered or uh, have the ability to keep the virus from spreading or be um um or be contracted, and you know, from just looking at all the things that's taking place, and in doing the research, I can't, you know, it's not going nowhere. Basically, I'm gonna say it like it is. No, it's not going nowhere. It's not going anywhere from the NGO perspective, and it is still valid, and it is still in place because we haven't took it out of the picture. It is the plague that they're experiencing, and it's not going anywhere. So something that until it's over they'll be living with. Okay. Now let's go into our next topic. That one was just China needs Taiwan biggest chip maker more than the other way around. Taiwan is home to where the 90% of the manufactured capacity for the world's most advanced semiconductors, according to the 2021 Boston Consulting Group report. Just 1%. Just 10% of TSMC's revenue comes from China, according to the company. I think the real challenge for these companies are still coming from the end demand rather than what's going on economically, said Patrick Chung, head of research for CISA in Taiwan, Beijing. It comes to Beijing, when it comes to semiconductors, China needs Taiwan more than the other way around. Beijing halted some trade with the island this month after U.S. Speaker Nancy Pelosi controversial trip to Taiwan. Notably, the ban did not touch electronics. Taiwan is home to more than 90% of the manufactured capacity for the world's most advanced semiconductors, according to the 2021 Boston Consulting report. U.S. commander says China missile fire over Taiwan must be contested. China's recent decision to fire missiles over Taiwan is a gorilla in the room that has to be contested. A top U.S. military commander said Tuesday, Beijing has carried out huge air and sea drills this month around Taiwan. Furious reaction to visits by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the congressional delegation. Those exercises including firing multiple ballistic missiles into waters of Taiwan, some of the world's busiest shipping routes, and it was the first time China has taken such step since the mid-1990s. It's very important that we contest this type of things. I know that the gorilla in the room is launching missiles over Taiwan. 7th Fleet Commander Vice Admiral Carl Thomas reported in Singapore, if we just allow that to happen and we don't contest that, that'll be the next norm headed. It's unresponsible to launch missiles over Taiwan into international waters where the shipping lanes, where free shippings operate. So in the first part of the news, they're sharing that Beijing is not the main buyer of semiconductors, and that China needs Taiwan because Taiwan produces 90% of electronics and semiconductors, and that Beijing needs Taiwan, vice versa than Taiwan needing Beijing. The second part is the live drills that are being carried out over Taiwan in defiance or in response to Nancy Pelosi and the delegation. Let me get it. To Nancy Pelosi and it's right there already. In the U.S. Commission delegators. However, it was 5 of them that came 2 weeks after Nancy Pelosi saying that they wanted to, their mission was to ease the tension in the China Strait. However, you have Beijing shooting these live missiles, live guns, live rockets, missiles and guns and over Taiwan, and missiles landing into the water that the route that ships usually go through, which is in a prior report that it was causing backups in with shipments, and just a little interference and backing up ships, and also with planes moving through the area will cause a economic problem for a lot of different parts, different countries, and different parts, a lot different countries, because it's a heavily used um um water. The strait is heavily used for shipping. So with Beijing shooting live missiles over and into water, ships have to hold back, don't go through or dock to keep from getting hit by a missile. And that is that way also with planes as well. So a U.S. commander or a U.S. admiral, vice admiral Carl Thomas shared that the U.S. needs to um, the U.S. needs to contest. That's the word he used. Contest that. Contest um, Beijing from using or shooting these live rounds into international waters. So he said the gorilla in the room is launching missiles over Taiwan, 7th Fleet. And this commander, Vice Admiral Carl Thomas, told reporters that if we just allow this to happen and we don't contest, if we don't contest that, that will be the next norm. And it's irresponsible to launch missiles over Taiwan into international waters. So he's saying that America should contest what Beijing is doing. Again, Beijing, before any of these tests was before any of these operations was ran of this live um, exercises, they shared with the U.S. not to come to their country, not to interfere. So this is a response. What you seeing, Admiral Carl Thomas, is a response from coming in and causing an interference with their internal one China policy. So then you, with Nancy Pelosi coming in, they started carrying out these drills. Then for 2 weeks later, you incite them again. We're bringing in another congressional delegation. So 5 other Congress members to tack it on them. Tack it on. Okay, then this space to continue record. So we're gonna have to bring this. I'm gonna wrap this up. My system is giving me some updates on what's needed. However, I'm recording it from 2 different areas, so we're gonna keep it going, and I'll just have to post it from one to another. Whatever we have, if the recording goes out, then don't worry about it. It'll be posted as well on the other platforms. However, it's always, you want to contest. America wants to contest what someone does, but they don't want to stay out of people's affairs. We can come here, we can go where we want to go, no matter what the backlash is. Then when you see the backlash, you want to contest it. However, it's all contestable. You can contest it. And soon we will see what that contestant is going to be. With everything that's taking place and what's being shared, with America, basically, like I shared previously, it's a slap in the face to Beijing. It's a slap in the face. They said that America committed 3 3 oh, they broke 3 commitments that they made with China, with this one China law. China is sharing it, they're furious. And China has already threatened the president, Joe Biden, with the words she shared that told Biden that, to stay out of their affairs, don't come here, and shared that when Biden that he's playing with fire, and when you play with fire, um, you're going to be what's the exact words he shared, or this is what was shared, consumed by it. You'll be consumed by it. So basically destroyed by it, consumed. And looking from the angel perspective, that's exactly what is going to take place. This America is this is a it's not looked at for many to think that America can just do whatever it wants to do, and it doesn't, the backlash or the consequence of it, they never look at the consequence. They don't respect or expect a consequence for what they do. However, what is Carl Thomas saying to the contest? How do you contest it without starting a war? How do you? I mean, that's basically, we're going to contest it before it be the norm. I understand what he's saying, but you're in their waters. But with missiles flying into shipping lanes where free shipping operates. Yeah, that's a fact. But you still, it one thing, you bring a ship through, you hear bombs, you see bombs, they're telling you we're running drills. Only thing I can share with you is to stay out of there, because for you don't get hit with one of those live rounds. However, you're gonna contest something when you're being contested. This is what's taking place, is because you done something and they're contesting what America done. This is a contest. They're contesting what they told you America not to do. Don't come. You're interfering. You're breaking. You're making mischief. You're causing You're causing problems with the one China rule. You're causing problems with trying to in them trying to pull their country, Taiwan and Beijing, back together. You're causing a problem, and you're only doing it because you have it's not, no one's blind. You have America has its interests. That's why they said they're coming with what they said it was coming with, they wanted to invest into into I think into the that America wants to invest into Taiwan's um okay, here it is. Chips. What do they call them? They're semiconductors. They want to invest in their semiconductors. They want to invest in their chip making. America has they American has an interest in Taiwan, a huge interest in Taiwan to be exact. So Taiwan has things they need for uh, components and like these chips for cars and different things that America um, needs to produce um, a lot of items, a lot of things that America produces. They need those chips, far as definitely for cars, phones, and things like that. So this what's being done in the way that America is doing is like they act like nobody can see what they're doing is in contrast to and causing, just like China is saying, you're trying to force a separation. You're trying to keep Taiwan and China from allow coming back together, and you're saying that to you're being respectful to China. Then you say you're coming to reduce the tension. Now you have a colonel, an admiral, talking about contesting China for what they're doing. So, all that to say that we're definitely in uh, moving fastly into uh, the war of Armageddon. Um, this thing with China, we will this you will see how it's going to play out with China. Um, this is definitely not over. It's far from over. It's just it's it's building up. And for those of you who don't understand or don't see it, that um, this is definitely a war on the horizon. America knows that they're going to have to deal with China sooner than later. China is furious for the actions of America. Um, And with what's taking place in the Middle East, um, with the JCPOA, Iran has been given, they say, another week to go over and the paperwork, the last draft with um, everyone. They need to go over it, and they're expecting within a few days to get a response from Iran. Some say it can be a few days, it might be a couple of weeks at the longest. However, we're in the period of time of getting that answer of the JCPOA. Will Iran go back into the JCPOA, or will will be going America will be going to war with Iran? So you got these three hot spots. America is pressuring war against Iran. They're fueling and paying for the war. They're supplying. They're paying for the war in um, Ukraine. America has paid over $24 billion in assisting in that war. So basically Ukraine is an American proxy of terror to Russia in that war, because America is funding it, supplying the weapons. So looking at it from the truth of the matter, not from how they want to spin the narrative. And you you have Russia. Now America is giving um, a timeline pretty much to with this JCPOA thing, and all these things are right on schedule, right on time from the Angel perspective. Um, this JCPOA is going to lead into the abomination of desolation, which are the war in heaven, which will be a war between Michael and his angels, which is Iran and Syria, against the dragon and his angels, which is the House of Side, Britain and America, false Israel, and those other 6 countries that has made this alliance with them, called up under this uh, Abraham Accord. So, what's going to take place? The victor of this war will be Iran and Syria, the Shia Muslims, and they will kick Britain and America out of the Middle East. And also, they're going to siege and destroy false Israel, and that is going to be the shock of the hour. They're also going to take out the House of Saud and those 6 other Sunni nations that have made an alliance with them. There will be Sunnis um, going to war with them, other Sunni. However, Hamas and um, the Palestinian Jihad will be also fighting with Iran. However, Iran and Syria will be the victors, and they will take full control over the Middle East, which is going to call this period is the shock of the hour. This shock of the hour is going to let clear all the error and all the lies and deceit of who the true seed of Abraham is, which is the black man and woman of America. And when you see this, the shock of the hour is going to cause people's head to explode, hearts to give out, because their aneurysms, heart attacks, blood clots from recognizing the truth. And once they know exactly who the God is, who God's chosen people are, then they know exactly who they are. When they get to look in the mirror and see that, oh, we're the ones that are being destroyed, we're being taken out, we are the devils that the scripture said we are. So we afflicted God's chosen people. And that is going to cause the that's going to be the spark. That war in the Middle East will be the spark to the War of Armageddon, which is the European war, which is going to go uh, immediately into action after America and Britain is kicked out and Israel is seized and destroyed. They will be going, America will be going directly to war with Russia, and eventually leading up to China coming over the Pacific and attacking America from the West Coast. And this is the perspective from the angel. This is where we at, and this is what you're seeing, and you can see how it's shaping up. As I didn't get into full detail of the whole Russia, and they're going to be at war with Russia and the EU. However, these is just the hot spots that you can see right now, in the antagonizing and the terrorizing that they're doing. They're literally at war with Russia, antagonizing China, spitting in their face, and then giving an ultimatum to Iran. So, just looking at this from the angel perspective of what's taking place through these topics, what's taking place with China, and also the weather, how it is persistent to constantly unprecedented things is happening in America from the weather, because we're living in a time, living in unprecedented time. So you're going to keep seeing these unprecedented events take place. So with that, this is the perspective that on these topics from the angel, the unsealed scriptures, and where we are. We're all sharing the event to be looking forward to is the answer, the event of the JCPOA, which will be the spark that is going to cause the war in the Middle East, and that will be the trigger to the War of Armageddon. And with that, I'm gonna bring this segment of Up Late Update with Malik Hodge to a close. I thank you for watching. We'll be back at 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern, and 2 o'clock Pacific. We will be back at on the same platform. We're gonna work out the kinks, the bugs. I can see that we're still having a little problem with the system. Bear with us, and with that, I'm gonna bring it to a close and greet you as I came in the greeting words of peace, of Assalamu Alaikum. Oh.